Goo, we got a special guest, man.
That big boy.
I'm looking forward to it. Trayce Jackson-Davis, 57th overall pick this season by the Golden State Warriors, made his NBA Summer League debut last night for the Warriors. And Trayce, I appreciate you taking time out of your day for us. What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
I'm fantastic. And I have to imagine, look, I know the hamstring might have held you out at a couple games earlier this summer, California Classic, first couple of the Summer League, but getting out on the floor last night, 20 minutes, 14 points, 6 of 9 from the floor, 7 rebounds. You were doing your thing. First, tell me what it was like to get that first game under your belt.
It was great. Honestly, just being able to get out there, be with my teammates, getting to play with them, watch from the sidelines, just trying to be a good teammate. But finally getting out there was a blessing and just a lot to work on and improve.
Trayce, I got to tell you, I'm watching the game last night. I jumped off the couch. I think it was Pajitsky, went to the rim, dropped it off to you, and then you went. I said, there it is. That's what we've been missing. And you look at this roster and your current teammates, how excited are you when you look around like they don't got a lot of size on this team? I mean, you got to be excited for what you can do.
Absolutely. Just getting out there, trying to set up guys, but being able to be a lob threat, a rim threat, put pressure on the rim. I mean, obviously we got the greatest shooters in basketball, so just doing my little part in that, I think it's going to be great. I think I'm going to help out.
Trayce Jackson-Davis with us here over the Golden State Warriors, joining us from Summer League where he played last night, getting out on the floor for the first time with the Warriors this summer. You're talking about some of the greatest shooters ever. Well, Stephen Curry, we've seen him out in Las Vegas this summer. He was out there with Jonathan Kuminga, Gary Payton II, Chris Paul, newest member of the Warriors as well this offseason, was there. What has it been like to get to know those guys, but also how do you see yourself fitting with them in this team this season?
And getting to know them, it's been great. They're all great dudes. Played with some of them. I played with JK and some pickup. He's looking real solid. And then getting to talk to Steph and CP and just talking about how I can help the team. And Steph, he came up to me. He said, "We're trying to find guys that play the right way, and you fit that bill." And I think that's what I pride myself in, is playing the right way, doing what Coach asked me to do, and trying to make the most of my opportunities. And so just the way that they space the floor, getting guys open, setting ball screens, slipping to the rim, dunks, lobs, doing stuff of that nature, I think is going to be the way that I contribute on this team.
Trayce, I'm in my 50s, so I'm an OG. Your dad was the 13th pick in the 91 draft. Dale Davis played 17 seasons. He was a dog. When I played, I tried to bring that physicality, but I marvel at guys that their fathers played in the league. We hear it from Steph and Clay, but can you talk about your dad and when you fell in love with the game and how much he's meant to your journey into the league?
He's been good. He's been good. Just watching highlights. Obviously, when he played, I was a little bit younger, on the younger side, so I didn't really know that much, but being able to watch his highlights and talking to him, the biggest thing that he's told me on this journey is just be consistent in your work, really. Having a routine, building habits. I mean, he played 15, 16 years in the league, and he got that just based off of the habits and the hard work that he put in. He said, if I do that, then I'm going to be just fine.
57th overall pick of this last year's draft for the Golden State Warriors, Trayce Jackson-Davis joining us here on 95.7 The Game. And Trayce, you talked about being able to fit, to acclimate to certain situations. And I know in college you went from Archie Miller the first 2 years to Mike Woodson the last 2 years, and now you're playing with a guy, Steve Kerr, who's got 9 rings as a player and a head coach. What have your conversations been with Steve Kerr like, and what do you feel like he's not necessarily expecting from you, but what he will ask you to do, both this summer and, of course, hopefully this upcoming season?
The biggest thing that he asked me to do, he just said, I think that the biggest thing that he's happy about is just the maturity that I have. Obviously still being a rookie, but being a more older, more mature guy, making right basketball plays, kind of watching my film, being able to pass, make smart IQ plays is what he's very ready to do. Or what he's expecting out of me.
Trayce, let me take you back to draft night, because a lot of life is about mindset and thought process. But you tweeted during the draft, y'all will regret it, I promise you. Walk us through that tweet, and I love everything about it because it feels like you got a chip on your shoulder.
Yeah, absolutely. I do have a chip on my shoulder. Obviously, during draft night, It was hard. It was hard watching that, and I didn't know really what was going on. I mean, my agent was trying to explain it to me, but just kind of just getting in my own head. But after he explained actually what was going on, I probably wanted to tweeted that because I didn't know that Golden State, like, they were trying to get like the 35th pick, then the 42nd pick, and then obviously they finally got the 57th one. But I just felt a little discouraged because a lot of the teams that I worked out for were saying the same thing, that they wanted me at here, here, and here, and then just kind of like didn't happen. And so just honestly was like, okay, well, if that's how y'all want to treat me, then I'm going to show you and prove to you why I'm better than the 57th pick.
Trayce Jackson-Davis with us here on 95.7 The Game. I love the honesty. I love the reflection, but also the fact that you didn't take the tweet down shows that not only you stood by what you said, but you're willing to back it up now. And as far as the Golden State Warriors, pursuing you, moving up to get you, and then watching you play last night, it does feel like there is a fit, especially with your skill set and this team. If you're looking at other franchises and the teams you were talking about that you worked out for, is Golden State one that you had targeted, and kind of how much were you hoping to be a part of a system that seems to complement your game?
Absolutely. They were a huge fit. They were probably first or second in teams that I wanted to play for. They were my first workout actually, and I had a really good workout, and they were one of the teams that were honestly not really say recruiting, but came and saw me. They came and saw me work out in L.A. I did an interview with them in Chicago. So they were a team that were very invested in what I was doing, and they talked to my agents a lot. And but honestly, just watching them play and how I impact the game out of that short roll and being able to pass the ball, I feel like that's a big key that I've had this last year, is the ability of working on my passing and just getting out to shooters, and then obviously making impact plays at the rim is just something that I pride myself on. And I think that's probably the best fit that I have in the league, honestly.
I'd love to hear it. And Trayce, I'm curious, you mentioned that the interview with the Warriors, that was the first one you had. I don't know how much you're allowed to divulge, but was there anything that the Warriors asked you? Well, first, who was in the room, and was there anything that kind of caught you off guard?
Nothing that really caught me off guard. It was just all of the front office guys, and they were just the question that really made me laugh was they asked about my shooting, and they said, why is everyone so eager about my shooting when you do all of these other things so well? And I looked at him and I said, honestly, I don't know. I said, I feel like in college I was dominant, drawing double teams, passing out of the post, playing above the rim, being a lob threat. And I said, honestly, if I go to you guys, shooting won't even be a big part of my game. I mean, I'm going to obviously still work on it, but it's just something that's going to be there in the arsenal. But at the end of the day, just being able to play with guys like Steph, Clay, CP3 with the role, it's a blessing. And just being able to play in where I fit in and not having to try to make myself fit in somewhere else with the shooting and all of that other aspects, I think is going to pay dividends to me.
Trayce, I mentioned it when you popped on. You're a big boy, 6'10", 245, and you spent 4 years in Bloomington, and we're in an era where a lot of kids, young college kids are coming out early. Did that ever cross your mind, and what went into you saying, you know what, I'm going to play all four at the college level?
Yeah, so after my freshman year, I think the COVID is really what struck. I think if I would have went, it would have been after my freshman year. I had a really good freshman season. I was maybe top 10 in scoring, top 10 in rebounds as a freshman. And then COVID happened, and then I decided to stay. I had a really good freshman or sophomore season. I was a third-team All-American. And then Coach Miller got fired, and Coach Woody came in, and he said, I can add these things to your game. And so that's why I didn't even test the waters my sophomore year. And then my junior year came. It was similar to my sophomore year, and I ended up testing. Got COVID during the NBA draft combine, and kind of felt like without being able to showcase my skills at the draft combine and all of that, I just felt like it would have been better off just to go back to school. And so here I am, senior year, being a consensus All-American, adding little wrinkles to my game like my passing, just playing with a high basketball IQ, and just listening to Coach Woody, watching film, I think paid dividends, honestly. And so then I got into the position that I'm in, and I'm blessed to be here.
Well, very self-aware Trayce Jackson-Davis, pardon me, here on 95.7 The Game with us. And Trayce, a guy like Chris Paul, who comes into the Golden State Warriors via trade, I think he was probably a sophomore or junior at Wake Forest the year you were born. So you've had a chance to watch that guy play your entire life. How much are you looking forward to playing with him? And what can you kind of tell us about someone who's grown up watching this guy in his now 19 years in the NBA?
I think it's going to be great, honestly. What I've heard from around the league is that he makes guys' lives easy, especially bigs. Getting you the ball in the right spot, and then just how friendly he was. Coming up, meeting all the young guys, talking to him, just can tell that he's a role model, and he's someone that wants to win. And I think that's all of our main goals. But overall, I think playing with him, being in the screen and roll with him is going to be great, honestly.
Trayce, I know you'd mentioned you were a baby when your dad was in the league, but I always like to, ask young guys like yourself, who did you pattern your game after? Who was the guy, growing up, you watching in the league to where you say, you know what, I'm going to try to get to my utility belt with a lot of things that they do?
I think that I try to add just different wrinkles from guys' game. I like the way that Giannis brought the ball up the court, so that was something that I did my senior year. Draymond's ability to pass the ball and his IQ, always making the right passes. Sabonis, I kind of watch his game film because we're both lefties, and so I just try to take little wrinkles out of everyone's game, especially going into my last season. And that's what I tried to do, is just not really mimic, but take stuff out of their game and not just completely copy that whole person, but little wrinkles from people's games and try to apply them to my own.
Trayce Jackson-Davis joining us here on 95.7 The Game, 57th overall pick by the Golden State Warriors. And I know there was a teammate of yours, Jalen Hood-Schifino, that was also drafted this season. How much conversation have you guys had about kind of your entrance into the professional life, and how much are you looking forward to potentially going up against him this season?
It's been great. I've talked to him a few times. He's a hard worker. He's a very hard worker. I know he's going to make the most out of his situation. But right now, the biggest thing that he said that we talked about is just being blessed and just being in the situation that we're in, being able to play at the highest level. It's been really, really awesome just being out there in San Fran 2 weeks ago, getting able to see everyone, meet all the players, and I think he's the same way. I mean, I get to play next to Steph, he gets to play next to LeBron, and I think that just says everything that it has to say about this league and how amazing it is.
Trayce, so walk us through it. Draft night, you find out you should have went higher, but you find out you're coming to Golden State. You mentioned you've been to the Bay a couple weeks ago. How excited are you, and how much time have you spent in the Bay prior to becoming a Golden State Warrior?
That was my first time in San Francisco, actually, but it was great. Honestly, it's a great city, but I honestly can't wait to get out there and get to work. We start in August, and so we're going to hit the ground running. But I'm super excited to get started. I'm super excited to start playing with my teammates, getting to meet everyone else. But overall, I think it's going to be great, and I'm just really excited.
There you go.
Trayce Jackson-Davis, Golden State Warriors, made his summer league debut last night in 20 minutes, 14 points and 7 rebounds. Trayce, you have kind of a unique contract. Your first 2 years guaranteed, 4 years total with the Golden State Warriors. Is that something that, one, you were expecting, but also does that encourage you to work harder and to try and give back to an organization that clearly has a lot of belief in you, giving 2 years to yourself? Guaranteed.
Absolutely. Just being where the pick I was and getting the contract that I got, I feel like that doesn't necessarily happen a lot, but I think it just shows how this organization and what they feel about me. And I'm a really loyal guy. Same with college. Never thought about going into the transfer portal, never thought about doing anything of that nature. And so I'm loyal, and I'm going to try to make the most out of this situation. And if a team believes in me like they do, they deserve my all, and that's what I'm going to give them.
Trayce, let me ask you this. I know the other 29 teams aren't listening, but is there any components to your game that you're working on that you say, you know what, for me to reach my full potential, I need to work on this aspect of my game?
I just think that the shooting piece is probably the biggest thing that I'm going to continue to work on. And In college, I didn't really necessarily need to shoot the ball just because I was so dominant at the rim. But it's just something that I'm just going to continue to add. I mean, being 6'9", 6'10", I'm playing against 7-footers. You're not always going to be able to get the reads that you like. You're going to have to bring them out. And if they don't respect your jump shot, it's hard to go around them. So just being able to add that, because I feel like I have the quickness to go around guys. But, yeah, adding that last piece to my game to complete it is great.
Well, Trayce, we certainly hope you can do that. Hopefully, it's going to be, with the Golden State Warriors this season, helping them get back to where they want to be. But for right now, go get yourself right. Summer League continues, and we appreciate you hopping on 95.7 The Game with us. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys.
That is Trayce Jackson-Davis, 57th overall pick of the Golden State Warriors. Go.